Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I'm thrilled to be joined by Jeanne Collins, an award-winning interior designer who left the corporate world behind to find her true self through design and internal reflection. She has written a memoir, 2 Feet In, Lessons from an All-in Life. And certainly an all-in life she has had. She's been the winner of the 2022 Lux Magazine Red Award. She was recently nominated as an HGTV Designer of the Year. And I'm absolutely thrilled, once again, to be joined by award-winning interior designer and author, Jeanne Collins. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Shalom, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. What a fascinating background you have had. I know you've had a lot in your personal life, and I'll start there before we jump into the professional and all of your accomplishments. You've had a series of, I'll just say it, challenges. Understand divorce, some romantic struggles, some drastic career shifts, and motherhood. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself that you think is relevant to this conversation?
Sure. I mean, I'm like everyone. We all have challenges. I just have my set of them. I'm 53 years old. I'm a single parent. My daughter is turning 17, and I've been a single parent since she was born. I've been divorced twice, so gave that a try twice, and didn't have a lot of luck at that. And, I was raised in a nice household and a nice environment. I can't complain about that, but definitely the way I was raised left me with a lot of emotional baggage that I had to deal with later on in life. And then professionally, I have majorly shifted careers twice and now added a third career having written a book. So had a lot go on in the career perspective as well.
Absolutely. So all in is a very appropriate description. So the book, again, 2 Feet In, Lessons from an All-in Life. What is the meaning behind 2 Feet In?
2 Feet In is really how I realize that I approach life. And so when I come to these crossroads with these challenges, such as, having to decide to end my first marriage, for example, once I made that decision and I just jump in with 2 feet and don't look back. And really what I've realized is that makes me unique in this approach is that I don't let myself get stuck in the negative chatter and the negative mindset that can very often happen when people have to make large decisions in their lives and have to take a risk. And I make a decision and I am able to just shut my mind down and just make it and just keep moving forward and trusting myself and trusting the universe that it is going to work out okay and I'm going to make it work.
Absolutely. I'm chatting with Jeanne Collins, who certainly has had just an amazing career. And you chronicle, I know, your journey, the approach that changed your life, and your work in the book 2 Feet In, Lessons from an All-in Life. So who is the intended audience for this fantastic read? And what is the most important thing that you want readers to take away from your story?
So the audience is really, I started out thinking the audience was going to be women in their 30s and 40s and 50s, and quickly realized that the audience is actually anyone that's over 18, male and female, because I cover so many facets of my life and the different things that I learned along the way, that I've realized that people can relate to many different parts of my life in many different ways. And so the audience is really very broad. And what the ideal audience is someone who is looking to be inspired, looking to be motivated, looking to feel connected with someone who is not a celebrity. I'm not necessarily a normal person, but I'm not a celebrity. And there are things in my life that a lot of people can connect with in situations. And so my goal is to help inspire people to really become the designers of their own lives and feel like they can give themselves permission to make themselves a priority and make some changes and have a little bit more self-confidence than they might have to really design the life of their dreams.
Absolutely. And I'm fortunate. Every week I talk to amazing people doing amazing things in amazing communities. And, I do talk to a lot of folks that have written a book. And frankly, every single week I'm inspired and blown away by folks like you, Jeanne, that take the time to capture their story and share those lessons with others. But I'm always fascinated by the networking that goes on behind the scenes. I know you have quite the network, but what has the reaction been in your book of contacts? And who are you talking to about this book? What's that process been like?
Yeah. So, I mean, because I'm an interior designer, so I talk to everybody from people that are in the interior design industry to authors to entrepreneurs to small business owners to women in business. So, the audience of people that I talk to is very broad. And the feedback, I've actually been shocked at how positive the feedback has been because to me, this is my story. This is my life. And sometimes we live in the land of a little bit of imposter syndrome, and you're like, how interesting is it really? And then I'll get a text message from someone that says, I read your book in 2 sittings, and I can't tell you how captivated I was, or I was so motivated by your story, and you really made me pause and think about my life in a different way. And so every time I get those messages, it's just reinforcement for it. That's why I bothered to write it. Because there are things in there about my life that I don't necessarily need to be public or want to be public, but you have to be vulnerable if you're going to try to impact people and inspire them. You have to be vulnerable about your own life and some of the choices and mistakes that you might have made along the way and be honest about it.
Yeah, I love that so much. Chatting with Jeanne Collins, who's written a book. But Jeanne, real quick before we go to break, tell our listeners a little bit about your firm and what you do professionally.
So I have a luxury interior design firm based in Connecticut, servicing the New England area in addition to nationally. And I focus on helping entrepreneurs and executives design the homes of their dreams. And I really focus a lot on how they want their homes to feel and function. And I do everything from modern design to a little bit more transitional and a little bit of New England and a little bit of everything. And I happen to love it. Love color, love clean. It's a great thing to be able to impact people's lives and their homes because that's where their day starts every day.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to squeeze that quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of those experiences and lessons that you've learned in corporate America that helps you start your own business. Chatting with Jeanne Collins. We'll be right back and get down to business. Don't touch that dial. And we are back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. As always, get on my website, syklein.com, and be sure to check out your favorite podcast app. Just search for Get Down to Business. So I'm returning in our conversation with Jeanne Collins, an award-winning interior designer who left the corporate world behind to find her true self through design and internal reflection. And she's chronicled her journey and the approach that changed her life and work in her memoir, 2 Feet In, Lessons from an All in Life. Jeanne, welcome back. Thank you so much. Minutes before the break, we were talking a little bit about that transition from corporate America and starting your firm, which congratulations on all the success. I'm excited for all you'll do in 2024. So what is the most important lesson that you've learned in corporate America that applies to your small business, but frankly, for entrepreneurs that are tuning into this program?
I learned so many things, but by far the number one thing I learned in corporate America is that it is so important to build a team of people that have skill sets that you do not. And when you start out with a small business as an entrepreneur, you kind of have to do everything and you have to wear every hat. And there is a feeling of having to be good at everything. And as soon as you let go of that and you realize that you need to be good at whatever you're doing to start your business, but that doesn't mean that you have to be good at bookkeeping or marketing or PR, for example. You have to be good at what you're good at. And the best teams are built of people with complementary skills, but skills that are not exactly the same. And so you will raise the bar for your small business by bringing people onto your team, and they can be freelancers, consultants. They don't have to be employees that have skill sets that you don't, that collectively raises the bar for whatever you're doing for your small business.
That's powerful stuff right there. And that's relevant for everybody, again, regardless of industry. And that's great advice that you're bringing in. So definitely, I know you've had your ups and downs personally, professionally, and certainly you are, you've really come out of all of this so strong and, again, powerful woman, powerful entrepreneur with so many words of advice for so many folks. But one of the folks that might be tuning in is your younger self, Jeanne. If you could go back and tell your younger self some advice, what would it be?
My younger self. So I would tell my younger self to not get so trapped into the timeline that society puts us on. And so society puts us on this timeline that you're supposed to go to high school, you're supposed to graduate, you're then supposed to go to college, you're supposed to get a job, you're supposed to meet a partner, or somewhere in there, you're supposed to go to graduate school. I would tell myself to not focus on the timeline and don't focus on my age. Focus on my passions. And when you focus on your passions, you're much more likely to build a path for yourself that is surrounded with people that you want to be with and that are like-minded. And you're also much more likely to be successful, as opposed to focusing on, here are the steps the society wants me to take to supposedly be living what is deemed, and in air quotes here, a perfect life. So find your passion and follow that first.
Great advice right there. Jeanne Collins, really enjoyed our conversation. I know the book is called 2 Feet in Lessons from an All-in Life. And certainly one of the most important bits of advice that I'd share with our listeners is to pick up a copy of this book. Lots of lessons in it. I know you are very well connected in that interior design world, but there's so many lessons for everybody. Jeanne, how can we get in touch with you and how can we find the book?
So the book is 2 Feet in, Lessons from an All-in Life. You can find it on Amazon. It's available in hardcover. It's available as an ebook. And also I recorded the audio version of it. So anywhere where you get an audio version, you can find it there. You can follow my business, which is Jermar Designs, JERMAR designs.com. Also on Instagram, Jermar, JERMAR_designs. I post there all the time about design, wellness, life. And through that, you can email me anytime. If you read the book, please leave a review. I love to hear from people. I love to get emails, texts, comments, DMs after people read the book. So definitely reach out, share your story, and leave a review if you like it. So thank you.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, Jeanne. A happy new year to you. And of course, to all of our listeners, be sure to check out our sponsors, Tom Mirabelli from healthplanchicago.com for all of your health insurance and affordable care needs. You could reach him again on his website, healthplanchicago.com, or call him 630-863-3477, 630-863-3477. That's a wrap for us here. The show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship to success. Let's get down to business.